Well, welcome back to the Vantage Point YouTube channel, and clearly recently I've been too hard at play, so I haven't done any album reviews, but we're putting that right in this episode with this from Huey Lewis and the News.
If I said I loved you madly, would you think of me so bad?
So yes, album review time again, and today we're doing it, as I said, Hard at Play by Huey Lewis and the News. This is my original cassette version of it's the first album by them I'd bought. I'd got on tape the soundtrack to Back to the Future, as I wanted the song Power of Love. And of course it also had Back in Time, which I thought was amazing. So after that I thought I need to buy some of their albums. So I just went looking, having no knowledge of their catalogue, and that one had just come out. So I purchased it and off I went, and obviously got them all. So anyway, review this album, so we can take a quick look at the album review leaderboard at the moment. Obviously I've not done that many, but you know, hopefully I will continue to do some and build up a leaderboard of all the albums I own. So this album starts with Huey on his harmonica, and at the time my knowledge of the band wasn't such that I knew they were famous for Huey's harmonica playing, so I was a little bit taken aback with that. But then the band just storms in after. It's a real make you take a step back. It's quite unexpected after the harmonica intro. So probably this time this was probably the heaviest piece of music I'd ever heard, and it is a really rocking start, and it's got a very clear and defined guitar riff underpinned by some really solid drumming, and the whole intro and then the whole of this song is really, really solid. It's basically a hard rock tune, and I know they would never class themselves as a hard rock band, but then they did cross a lot of genres if you listen to all their music. But yeah, it's really the drumming that drives this song along, particularly during the middle eight into the guitar solo, which obviously features Chris Hayes. He's absolutely a wonderful guitarist who you never hear talked about outside of fans of Huey Lewis and the News. And he's come up with some amazing solos, and this is another really good one in this. So yeah, it's a great opening to the album. Overall, it's just, as I've said, it's a really, really solid track that you can sing along with. So yeah, great start. The second song on the album is Hit Me Like a Hammer, which was written by Mutt Lange, which obviously someone who I'm very familiar with now, as my music taste went off into the hard rock world. And I didn't really take to it straight away. At the time I just thought it was a good competent number, but no, I really love it now. It's got it really starts with a nice groove, and the guitars keeping time with it, and really good keyboard fills and Hugh's vocals. But before moving into the chorus, where it really shines with those oohs and ahs backing vocals, acting as another instrument, really. The second time the chorus comes round, I think it's when the real payoff is when they move into the "You Shot Me, You Got Me" part, which is almost like a second chorus, and then it goes into another great guitar solo from Hayes. Though I was delighted when I picked up the single version to find that there was also a version of the song with a sax solo. So it was great just to have. I don't know which one I prefer here, but it was great having two versions of the song which were slightly different. You can also the sax version also appears on the 3 CD Collected album that came out a few years ago. So yeah, it's a fantastic pop rock song, I would say. And Probably would have been a bigger hit for the band, obviously, if it had come out a few years earlier. But I'm sure lots of bands can say that as music fashion moves on. But yeah, that's a great song. And unfortunately for me, that will take a bit of a dip now with Attitude, which I find kind of lackluster. It's never really done anything for me. It's a bit more keyboard dominated than the previous songs, sounding a bit more like a jam, less concise. It's definitely filler, though I quite like the instrumental break. I mean, it shows what top musicians they are, but it's not really enough to make me want to listen to the full song very often, so it doesn't live in my MP3 player. So it's only if I actually go back to the CD that I'll ever hear it. But as I play most of my music through digitally these days, that doesn't happen so often. It's followed by He Don't Know, and the traditional kind of track 4 ballad. If you think Doing It All For My Baby, or Hope You Love Me Like You Say You Do, and it's Hope You Love Me Like You Say You Do. It's but this one I don't think is as good as either of those. It's a bit bland. It's got some nice guitar playing throughout, just kind of little filler runs on the guitar in between vocal lines, but that doesn't really elevate it enough to make it other than a filler track. If you go online and watch some of the live versions, there's some quite good playing on it. Although, personally, I don't think I would have ever picked this one as a track to play live from the album. But there he goes. But anyway, it's as I said, my first issue, it's the tape version. We come to the end of side 1, which is a couple of days off, and this is one of my favourites. I wish I didn't have to go to work anthems, and obviously Huey's done a couple of them, the other one being Working for a Living. But this is another guitar heavy hard rock tune, and I do like the verses that start with Huey's. He's more singing the verse just over the drums, and then the guitars will come for a bit, and then it'll drop back down to just Huey and the drums. That's quite good. It really helps the song build into the chorus, where obviously there's many people singing the chorus. It's a real yob chorus, as they say. And then again, like build me up. The drums are really solid here. I think those 2 tracks were produced by the same guy, Eric E.T. Thorngren. It's only 2 tracks he did in the album, and they really are the solid heavy rock ones. And then and the drum fill into the guitar solo is fantastic, and it's particularly in the album version, Chris Hayes can really let rip and go for it. He's got a real nice long section to play on. There is if you get the CD single, there is another mix which is nothing added, more just an edit, so half the solo's edited out and the song's a lot shorter. But it's also one of my favourite Huey Lewis videos, a couple of days off video, especially the bit in the middle where he ends up at the beach and the guys at the back of the control room going, I hate the beach. Yeah, that's the first side of the album. So the next song up, and the start of the second side of the album, is That's Not Me. And for me, this was the most instant song in the album. When I first got it, this was one I loved the most at the start. It starts off with a nice keyboard motif during the intro, and then you get a really infectious beat in the verses, or for want of another word, infectious again. And just builds into a chorus which is very memorable. It's got a great hook, and you can easily sing along to. And there's some nice little guitar riffing between the first chorus and the second verse. And then, obviously, it goes without saying, after the second chorus, there's a wonderful solo from Hayes again. Particularly when the song slows down during that solo section, and allowing allowing the solo to come really melodic. It's a great little tune, and obviously not one that's I would have thought the general public would know. It's kind of one of those deep cuts that fans will know, and I think it's brilliant. It is then followed up with what I think is the worst song on the album, We Should Be Making Love. I didn't like it at all when I first got it, and it still does nothing for me. It starts with a guitar lead line, which I just find a little bit irritating. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just the melody of it or something. It just doesn't do anything for me. And it's a kind of a slow track, not what I'd say a ballad, just a slow track, and not like, I don't particularly like the lyrics either. Not that there's anything offensive or bad about them. I just find them a bit cringy. The harmonica solo is alright, and it kind of suits the song, but it certainly can't save it. I need to put this down as a definite skipper if you're listening through the album. But then I think the album really picks up again with the next track, Best of Me. It rocks away quite nicely. So I like the intro. The keyboards are holding down a note while the guitar picks up a few notes over the top. And there's a kind of nice laid back groove under Huey's vocals during the verse, which merges nicely into the chorus. The second chorus adds some nice backing vocals to counterpoint Huey's lead vocal, before a cool guitar solo in the song lifts further with the bridge where Huey raises his vocals. And then there's a nice outro solo as well, which is something I like about Huey Lewis and the News. There's lots of songs where they don't just have a chorus end riff and finish. They jam out for a while. Chris plays some great solos, and this is one of those tracks. Next song, Do You Love Me or What, continues on from Best of Me. I think it's even better. It's got quite a minimalist start to the song with just some nice bass and drums holding the beat while Huey's singing. And then the song really kicks into gear with the chorus before it basically comes to a halt when Huey finishes off the chorus with the line, Do you love me or what? So it's really good dynamics on display in this tune, I think. And then it kind of repeats, but at the end of the second chorus it really kicks off as we go into it's a great saxophone solo this time, not a guitar solo, which I just love. And then it does have a wee guitar solo before another chorus, and it's just, I think it's a great song, great dynamics. It does lift and accelerate after the second chorus. I could say another deep cut, but I suppose it's not their most popular album, so it's full of songs that only fans of the band will know. Next track is Don't Look Back, which is a real highlight on the album. The guitar at the start's great, just kind of pounding those chords and holding them. They sound really raw, and they're just quite exciting. We're quickly through a verse and into a great chorus, and then into the second verse, where I do love the lyric. Had a little trouble with a guy at work, got a great big mouth for a little jerk. Obviously, Huey had lots of problems in his working life before he hit the big time. And then after the second chorus, they do kind of like an alternative chorus where the backing vocals take the main refrain, which again really lifts the song. And again, they're kind of juxtaposition, backing vocals, Huey, backing vocals. And then we're off into the solo, which is another great solo. It's got a great wee hook going into it, and it's probably the best guitar solo in the album. And the good news is Hayes gets another one playing during the outro, which is great as well. So I think it's just a little fantastic little song. Again, could be classed as one of those deep cuts that only the fans know, but it's an album that's slightly after the commercial peak, so probably not widely known out with the fan base. After that, we get Time Ain't Money, which isn't their best tune. It's a bit of a slight damp squib to end the album on. It's pretty average. And lyrically, I'm not that keen on it where you hear people who've made it big in the music business complaining about not having enough money. You kind of think, well, you've probably got a bit more than your regular listener. There's a bit of a country tinge to this song. As I said at the start, they're very good at playing in all sorts of different genres. And the track's nice and jolly enough, but it's not the best. Johnny Cola did a version on his solo album, and which is all right. But this is probably, the Huey version's probably better. But again, I think it's just a bit average, and that's how the album ends. So, as with all the other albums I've reviewed, here's the scores I've given each track. And obviously, when you add them together and divide by the number of songs, you get an overall score for the album. I think this album, although it's got some great songs on it, it's kind of overall scores let down by having a couple of 2 or 3 low scores, like We Should Be Making Love and Attitude and stuff. But when they're good on this album, they're great. So anyway, we can slot this album into the leaderboard. And that's my review of Huey Lewis and News and Hard at Play. And hopefully it won't be too long till my next album review. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Feel free to comment and tell me how correct or wrong I am with my review. And I'll see you in the next video.
They say that it comes when you least expect. I guess they were correct. It's often when you're not going down that road that humans will connect.